Hello and welcome to Middlesex Moments, the radio show and podcast produced by faculty, staff, and students at Middlesex Community College. I'm Stephen Minkler, Campus CEO and Academic Dean at the college, and your host for these programs. As always, Middlesex Moments comes to you from the radio and television studios in the Center for New Media, located on the main campus of Middlesex Community College in Middletown. And today, I'm really pleased to have as my guest Anne-Marie McEwen, who's the Executive Director of the Buttonwood Tree here in downtown Middletown. Thanks for joining me today, Anne-Marie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great.
It's wonderful to be back here at Chapman Hall.
And we're always glad to have you. Well, I think some of our listeners may not know too much about the Buttonwood Tree, but it is an institution that's shortly going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary.
That's right.
And what's the brief history of the Buttonwood Tree?
Well, we started in 1989, founded by Susan Allison and her husband, Steve Allison. Susan was a Wesleyan graduate, and Steve was a DJ at WPKN. So Susan, being the poet that she is and the avid reader, opened a small bookstore in the north end of Middletown on Rapallo Avenue. And Stephen brought in music, and together they brought in yoga programs and all sorts of opportunities for the community to come together. And it was a couple years later, initiated by the Middletown Commission on the Arts, became a nonprofit called North End Arts Rising. And it served to light a fire in the north end of positive energy. And it really helped the resurgence of Middletown's Main Street come alive again. And it brought all sorts of people from all walks of life to talk about the arts, to express themselves in a very healthy, positive way. And we're continuing that trend of focusing on the positive and helping people's lives by encouraging them and teaching them, giving them classes and skills and opportunities to expand their creative horizons. And we've been there ever since. We actually had a fire in 1995. There was a fire in the old location. We were homeless for 2 years, and then we moved into the old Arawani Hotel in 1997. We've been there for 20 years and still continuing, thankfully, to bring the arts to the community.
Yeah, it's a great space. I mean, I've been there several times, and it's really interesting that you've got the performance space as well as sort of a bookshop type of area on the outside as well.
Right, so we've kept the used bookstore. The books have dwindled as we've made more space for people, right. But we still do offer books, and our patrons who come in for shows often bring us the books, and they're really good books. People look at the books and they go, wow, these are really good books. I'm like, yeah, we have really good books. You never know what you're going to find there. It's not your typical just fiction shelves of Stephen King or something like that.
Right. I think it's also great that what you do at the Buttonwood Tree helps promote local artists. You do bring local talent to the forefront at the Buttonwood Tree, so it really kind of mixes the idea of what you were just saying about bringing back the North End from where it was 30, 40 years ago to being really a vibrant part of our city now.
Right, and that's one of the unique things about the Buttonwood Tree is it's not just a performance venue like Infinity Hall or the Cade or something like that, but it's really for the community to bring their talents to the table and for them to help develop their talents. And often the Buttonwood Tree is the first time that a person is performing in public. And we see it at our open mics, and we also see it on stage when we have live performances on Friday and Saturday night, which we do every weekend. We offer some kind of a show. And you see these young musicians, especially musicians, coming out of like the Hart School of Music and even Berkeley, and they need a place to play, and they want an audience. And so that's what the Buttonwood Tree provides. It's a very unique space in that we do that. And we also have world-class performers, people who have played at the White House for the Clintons and the Obamas, and they come to the Buttonwood Tree because they love the intimacy and the small, dedicated audiences. When you go to the Buttonwood Tree, you're going to listen to the music.
Exactly.
And musicians really appreciate that.
Great. Well, we do have to take a quick break, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about the events at the Buttonwood Tree after this short break, and we will be back with more of Middlesex Moments. Please stay tuned. Welcome back to Middlesex Moments, coming to you from Middlesex Community College. This is Stephen Minkler, together with my guest, Anne-Marie McEwen, Executive Director of the Buttonwood Tree in downtown Middletown. And before the break, we were talking about the fact that the Buttonwood Tree is a really special, intimate place to see a performance or hear some music. And Anne-Marie, you were saying that the artists really appreciate the fact that this space draws a really dedicated audience of people who are interested in new music or rising artists? And what kinds of reactions have you seen from audience members and the artists themselves?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm I'm always a little bit surprised, but never really too surprised when people are on their way out of a performance and they just shake their head in amazement and go, "Wow, what a wonderful show! Wow, that was outstanding! Wow, that was wonderful!" And it happens over and over and over again because the quality of the shows is really wonderful, and people actually like the intimacy of the room where they get to communicate with other people. It's not just you walk in, you sit down, you see a show, you leave. There's communication between people, and during our intermission, people get to mingle with each other and meet other people, and I think that's an important aspect of the show. It's a whole experience. And the musicians love to be able to see the people listening to their music or telling a story or whatever it is. They love that energetic feedback from the audience to the performer. And that's important, especially when you're in a small space. You can really feel it. And it's a very empowering and inspiring for the performer. And that's one of the things that they love about performing at the Buttonwood Tree is they get to feel that. They get to interact with their audience. It's not just a performance. It's an interaction. It's a whole experience for the performer and the audience. And sometimes when it's young or novice performers, they are learning so much through that. So it's really a great platform for education in a lot of different aspects. You know, it's not just you're learning intellectually, you're learning emotionally how to interact with people. And that goes both sides of the story, both from the performer's aspect and from the audience members. They're also learning how to react. So I see this a lot in jazz shows where some of the people might not know, for example, like when to clap in a jazz show, right? But they're learning and they're experiencing that with their fellow audience members.
Yeah, it has sort of the feeling almost like a house party. I mean, the space is small enough and it's comfortable enough, and it's almost as if you were invited into somebody's living room to hear a family member or a friend put on a show. Yeah.
Well, more than once we've been called Middletown's living room.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, that's one of our nicknames. So you've hit it on the head.
I stumbled on that one. Yeah, okay.
Good job. Yes, it is like a living room.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have refreshments, and we don't have a full kitchen, but we do have refreshments, and so people can imbibe a little bit and have snacks and whatnot. So it's very warm and cozy and friendly and inviting atmosphere, and it's sort of an oasis from the street. You know, the street is there, and all of its chaotic energy, and its sirens going by and all of that. And, you know, we're located next to the soup kitchen, so there are a lot of people who hang out. We're an old hotel, so people hang out a lot. But they're really not bad people. They're really good people. I say they're good people stuck in a bad system. Yeah. And, you know, they're bored. They're just hanging out. But once you walk through the doors, it's like a whole other world. And people just walk in and they look around and they go, wow, it's really cool in here. I really like it. And it's like I said, a very warm and inviting atmosphere that just makes everybody feel at home.
Yeah. And one of the ways that you do that by having it be Middletown's living room is that you do offer regular programming, and maybe tell the audience a little more, or tell our listeners a little more about the kinds of things that they would see at the Buttonwood on a regular basis, things that happen pretty much every week or every other week.
Sure. So let's start on Mondays. We have an Anything Goes open mic, and we welcome comedians and storytellers, dancers, poets, any kind of performance you want to do. If you just want to go tell a story, you don't have to be a professional storyteller. You can do whatever you like. And that's Monday nights. And during that program, we also do what we call moments of gratitude. We have our own moments. It used to precede the open mic, but we now incorporate it into it. And this is a time where we just get to share things that we're grateful for. And it's really encouraging to see and inspiring to see how other people express their gratitude and what they're grateful for. So that's Monday nights. Tuesdays we have three different programs happening. Every other week we do a daytime yoga class on the second and fourth Tuesdays in the afternoon. And then at night we do a laughter yoga class and also a sound healing. So the first and the third Tuesdays we do laughter yoga with a sound healing following it. And on the second and fourth Tuesdays, we do a yoga class during the day at 1:15 to 2:15. And those are all free. Donations are welcome, but there's no cost to go in. And they provide a lot of different opportunities for people to learn and stretch and develop new skills. Laughter yoga is a skill that you have to sort of work on. It's a practice. People say, oh, I can laugh, but you can't laugh sometimes when you're feeling really blue or when you're feeling frustrated. And that's its purpose, is to enable you to do that. So that's laughter yoga. And then on Wednesdays, we'd sort of take a little day off. And Thursday, not that we wouldn't welcome a new program, because we could.
Yep.
If you have a program that you want to perform at the Buttonwood Tree or offer to your community, you can always come see us and we can talk about new programs or new things that you want to do. But on the first Thursday, we have Bob Gatta's acoustic open mic. That's the oldest continually running open mic in the state. And then on the third Thursday, we have Shaking the Tree Gong and Sound Meditation run by Andrew Prue. He also does a drum circle on the fourth Thursday. And this month, because of Thanksgiving, we're actually going to do it on the 29th. So in a couple days, we'll be having a drum circle. Do you like to drum?
Oh, yes, I do. It's been a while since I've done that, but yes. It's something that's... it can be meditative in its own way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, it's very meditative, yes. And so Andrew brings a lot of drums. So if you want to come down and drum with us, feel free.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, we have a workshop. It's hard to describe as a workshop because it's Anita Gandhi is this lady from India who's just a wonderful healer and inspiring speaker. And she talks to people about being aligned with Source, and that's the title of it, and basically finding your own center and aligning with your higher power and listening to those messages and learning how to let go of your fear and your ego and all your negative stuff. And people ask questions, and they sort of workshop it a little bit, and then she leads a guided meditation. That's every Saturday from 10:30 to noon. And we just fairly recently started a teen open mic, which I'm excited about. And I encourage teens to come down. We have hosts who play piano or who sing, and that's from 3 to 5 every third Saturday, the teen open mic. And then the other regular program that we have is on the first Fridays, we do Story City Troupe, which is a storytelling group, and they tell stories in the Moth style, which is first person singular.
Okay.
No notes, and each speech is about 8 minutes long, something like that. And then they also invite the audience to tell a story. They'll invite you to put your name in the hat if you want to tell a story, and they'll pick a name out.
Oh, neat.
So you have an opportunity also. And that's kind of it for our regular programming. And then we have, all of our weekend shows that are very varied.
Well, we could talk about those in a minute or maybe after our break, but I think, first of all, for our listeners who may not have been taking notes, certainly everything that Anne-Marie's talked about you can find on the Buttonwood's website, which is buttonwood.org, O-R-G, or certainly you can call the Buttonwood at 860-347-4957. But I think the regular programming that you were describing that you offer is it's a mix of performance, but also sort of as a service to the audience members who want to come and kind of partake in this, like we were describing earlier, that it really becomes a participatory experience more so than just an audience member sitting and listening or watching to
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely, yes. Although you are welcome to come to our open mics and just sit and watch, which a lot of people do, but it's very much participatory, and it's there for personal growth. In fact, that's part of our mission, is to nurture personal growth and development.
Now, are you connected much with Wesleyan or perhaps the school systems in order to try to get some younger, for example, the teen open mic? Do you do outreach to the schools at all? Or?
We do. We don't have an official reciprocated relationship at all, but we do reach out to them. We send posters. We have some volunteers at the Buttonwood Tree who are students. So they take back posters, and I send emails to the music teachers and that kind of thing. So it's still in the works. It's like, you got to get the kids really encouraged to go, and it's still a work in progress.
Okay. So we can use this radio show as a signal to those out there who are listening that this is open to you, and just make note of the schedule and be happy to have you at the Buttonwood Tree.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely, yes. Thanks.
Well, it is time for our next break, and you're listening to Middlesex Moments from Middlesex Community College, and we'll have more with Anne-Marie McEwen from the Buttonwood Tree. Please stay tuned for more. And welcome back to Middlesex Moments, coming to you from Middlesex Community College. This is Stephen Minkler, together with my guest, Anne-Marie McEwen, Executive Director of the Buttonwood Tree, here in downtown Middletown. And before the break, we were talking about the Buttonwood Tree's regular set of programming, things that happen on a regularly occurring basis every week or a couple times a month. But we're approaching the month of December, and I know, that, Anne-Marie, that you have a lot of exciting performances that are coming up, typically on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the month. Is that right?
That's right. Typically, every Friday and Saturday we have events going on, and in December we also have some things on Sundays. And we just have such a plethora of absolutely wonderful performers like Joe Fonda and Anne-Marie Menta, Ken Sirio, Sinan Bakir, Jed Shablowski, all kinds of wonderful performers. But I'd just like to highlight a few that we're having in December that are a little bit special or different in some way.
Sure.
On the 14th, and I'll go sequentially here, on the 14th of December, we have a new to the Buttonwood Tree, a woman by the name of Michaela Mussolino, and she's bringing an Italian jazz and folk show right from Sicily. They do Sicilian songs, and she's not from Sicily herself, but they do all those Italian shows, and the show is called Rosa Tatuata. And so I encourage, especially if you speak Sicilian, you should be at this event.
Yes,
it's going to be a
sure.
wonderful, wonderful, diverse, very lively, danceable show, and a lot of fun. On the 22nd, we're going to have a special combination art show and piano performance based on landscapes. Kathleen Smits is a wonderful artist that's shown her work all over the state and other states, and as she's presenting her art and talking about her art, Ben Cosgrove is going to do a piano sort of recital for us, and that's on December 22nd. On the 23rd, which is a Sunday, Peter Lafredo is bringing back his traditional Child's Christmas in Wales, and this is a delightful story by Dylan Thomas, you might recall. And he acts it out at the Buttonwood Tree. Our friend Jack Zino, who also leads the Teen Open Mic, is going to be performing on the piano for us and doing Christmas carols. So it's a sort of sing-along. And also it's a great family tradition that some families have started because it's great for kids. And Peter is a wonderful actor. So it's a really fine entertainment for that day. It's a Sunday, and we'll have two shows at 3 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. And each show only lasts for about an hour. Mm-hmm. And that is free. We accept donations for the soup pantry. On the 29th, this woman named Deborah Davis is coming back with her band called A Few Good Men. I think that's an informal name. But my, oh my, she was wonderful. She came in August, and she is just a vivacious, a talented jazz singer. Oh my goodness. She did some Aretha Franklin for us, and so personal and so warm and just so talented. It just blew me away. And I sit there listening, and I go, can't believe you're here in Middletown in this little tiny space. This is just amazing. And afterwards, I was afraid to ask her if she wanted to come back again because we had a full house, but they don't make very much money, and it's still a very small room. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Wow, that was so great. When can we do it again?"
Oh, that's great.
And I said, "Well, how about when do you want to come back?" She said, "How about Christmas time? Let's do Christmas time." I was like, "Okay, fine." Cool. So December 29th, Deborah Davis, just a fabulous show. I highly recommend it. If you want to treat your friends to a good night, make a reservation because it probably will sell out.
Mm-hmm. Good to know.
She just has a fabulous voice, and it's just a wonderful, great show. Alrighty, so that's that. And then on the 31st, we're doing our third annual Fire of Hope. And this is a little program I put together. I don't sing or dance, I don't play music, so I put together these programs that are inspiring for people. And in this one, we will burn up our resentments and our fears, and we'll write them down. Anything you want to get rid of,
okay,
we'll write them down, burn it up.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have like a little ceremony. And then we'll talk about things that are inspired for the new year. And we'll have a speaker come and talk about 2019 and what the new year will bring. And we'll have some drumming, and we'll have some music by Hannah Field, who is very earthy. Their band is very earthy and just gets down into your bones, and it's very meditative, and it allows you that space to think about who you really are and who you want to be and what you need to let go of, and all that really deep personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on the 31st, and it's not going to be held at the Buttonwood Tree. It's going to be held at Harbor Park. And we're assuming it'll be chilly. Last year it was frigid. So we will hold it at the Canoe Club. Our friends at the Mattabasset Canoe Club are very wonderful to us and give us some space to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the fire will be outside, we will be inside for most of the performance.
And what time is that?
And it's from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. And I believe my dear friend, who's an amazing drummer, Craig Norton, might even be joining us. So it's going to be a wonderful day of music and community and singing. So we'll be singing some songs, some Beatles songs, and just some heartwarming songs to help encourage us and inspire us for the new year.
Great. Yeah, and that seems like a really beautiful twist on the idea of having New Year's resolutions. I mean, it's
Yes.
really kind of letting go of things that have bogged you down as a person, and just lighting fire to them. That's a really nice way to do that.
Thank
so I
you.
appreciate that. So hopefully I'll be there.
Hopefully,
I think I can
yes.
get rid of some of that stuff off my back.
Yes.
But these are great examples, which by the way, again, listeners, if you weren't taking notes, you can find all this at the Buttonwood Tree's website, which is buttonwood.org. Certainly their flyers are all around the city of Middletown. You can pick up a flyer at many of restaurants and retail shops in Middletown to see what the schedule is. But we invite you to come to any or all of these things. And Anne-Marie, these are great examples of the kinds of programming that the Buttonwood Tree has been known for 30 years. And as you approach
Right.
your 30th year anniversary, what plans are afoot to mark that occasion?
Well, thanks for asking. We're still in the planning stages of exactly what kinds of events or event we're going to have. But one of the things that I'm really looking for is I'm looking for stories of how the Buttonwood Tree has inspired you and what the Buttonwood Tree has meant to you over these years or what it has done for you. I'm always running into people who say, oh, yeah, I used to come here when I was a kid and we would have chess lessons and I would do this or I would do that. And it's just really encouraging for me to hear these stories. So I would love to get your story if you have one. And probably at the 30th, we're going to be highlighting some of these stories in some form or another. So, or if you have performed at the Buttonwood Tree many years ago and you'd be interested in performing at an event for us as a anniversary special, please be in touch with me. And you can email me at thebuttonwoodtree@gmail.com. And that's thebuttonwoodtree@gmail.com. So I would love to hear from you if you have any interest in helping at an event or sharing your talents or sharing your stories, any of those kinds of things. And I do believe we'll be reading some of Susan's poetry. Susan has passed on, but she left us with 2 or 3 bodies of works. I think there's a third book in the works. I don't know when it's coming out yet, but we do have 2 books which are available at the Buttonwood Tree, actually, and we'll be reading some of her poetry, and we'll be telling some stories about the olden days and how things happened and whatnot. And probably honoring some people who have passed, like Stacy Phillips, and having a really good time. I believe in having fun. I believe joy is an essential part of life, and we can't be all serious all the time, and that staying in that feeling of joy is really important. So we focus on joy and uplifting people at the Buttonwood Tree, and that's what I like to bring to my events. So we'll be having a lot of fun. Dancing, music, good food. That's what I expect.
Right. At Middletown's living room, the Buttonwood
That's
Tree.
right. That's right.
And my experience there has been exactly that. So we really do appreciate what you bring to the city of Middletown and having it be a space for sharing art and healing and music and all of that and really kind of helping revitalize the north end of our city too.
Thank you. Yes, it's important work, I believe.
And I think, Anne Marie, what we can do is just remind the listeners that certainly we invite them to come to any or all of the events that the Buttonwood Tree has to offer, but it also is a nonprofit entity that kind of is the, if you will, the corporate shell in which all this stuff happens. So it's that time of year to think about charitable donations.
That's
and
right.
People can do that in which ways?
That's right. Well, you can go to our website, and on the top there's a bar that says donate. You can click on that and donate any amount. Any amount will help. We appreciate that. You can always send us a check to the Buttonwood Tree at P.O. Box 71, or just write it to the Buttonwood Tree, and if it's Middletown, Connecticut, the post office knows where to send it to. So you can do that. You can also come into the Buttonwood Tree and make a donation that way. We do accept credit cards. And another thing, we're on Facebook a lot, and we do Facebook Live a lot. So if you're in your home and you can't go out on a Friday or Saturday night, you can be friends with the Buttonwood Tree and often catch us on Facebook Live watching, watch a show right there.
Great.
But I appreciate all the people from our community who support us through their donations and their memberships. It's really important that we have members who we can count on every year so we know how to budget and keep growing. So if you're interested in becoming a member of the Buttonwood Tree, please come see me or send an email, and we'll get you hooked up.
Okay, fantastic. Anne Marie McEwen, Executive Director of the Buttonwood Tree in downtown Middletown. Thanks for being my guest today on Middlesex Moments.
Thank you.
And thanks for you for listening to another edition of our program from Middlesex Community College. And you're always welcome to visit us in person at our main campus at 100 Training Hill Road in Middletown, or at our Meriden Center located at Platt High School, 220 Coe Avenue. And of course, you can visit us online 24/7 at mxcc.edu. So for everyone here at Middlesex Community College, this is Stephen Minkler, and we hope to see you again soon.